Next week on Days of Our Lives.
Order!
Welcome back to Days of Our Lives. Today we will learn about the explosive developments set to unfold during Monday, August 11th, 2025, as Johnny DiMera's high-stakes trial takes several shocking turns that will leave Salem residents reeling from the dramatic consequences. EJ's ruthless legal maneuvers escalate, the courtroom drama intensifies as EJ DiMera continues to showcase his most manipulative tendencies, demonstrating just how far he's willing to go to secure his son's freedom. Johnny's trial has become a battlefield where EJ's true character emerges in all its calculating glory, revealing layers of deception that even his closest allies never anticipated. His recent betrayal of Belle Black through their clandestine romantic entanglement was merely the opening salvo in what promises to be an increasingly ruthless campaign. The week commences with a particularly intriguing development as Marlena Evans finds herself accepting a new patient into her psychiatric practice. While the identity of this mysterious client initially remains shrouded in secrecy, Tuesday's scheduled meeting between Marlena and EJ strongly suggests that the district attorney himself has become her latest therapeutic challenge. This calculated move represents EJ's attempt to position himself strategically within Marlena's professional sphere, potentially laying groundwork for future legal maneuvers. However, EJ's machinations take an even more audacious turn by midweek when he makes the stunning decision to subpoena his own psychiatrist. This unprecedented legal gambit demonstrates EJ's willingness to weaponize even the most sacred professional relationships in service of his son's defense. The implications of forcing Marlena into the witness stand could prove devastating for multiple parties, as her testimony might reveal confidential information that could either exonerate Johnny or further complicate an already tangled legal web. Chanel's heartbreaking sacrifice while Belle Black finds herself engaged in increasingly difficult conversations with Johnny about the deteriorating state of his legal proceedings. Chanel DiMera faces perhaps the most agonizing decision of her young marriage. The weight of watching her husband's world crumble around him has pushed Chanel to contemplate the unthinkable, accepting responsibility for crimes she may not have committed in order to preserve Johnny's future and protect their closest relationships from further destruction. Chanel's consideration of pleading guilty to charges related to the doctored video evidence represents a profound act of love and desperation. This potential sacrifice underscores the depth of her commitment to Johnny, even as it threatens to destroy her own promising career and reputation. The doctored video has emerged as a crucial piece of evidence that could determine Johnny's fate, and Chanel's willingness to take the fall demonstrates her understanding that sometimes love requires the ultimate sacrifice. Her decision carries implications that extend far beyond the courtroom walls. If Chanel proceeds with this plan, it would not only alter the trajectory of the trial, but also fundamentally change the dynamics within the DiMera family. The ripple effects of such a choice would undoubtedly create new conflicts while potentially resolving others, as family loyalties and romantic bonds are tested to their absolute limits. Jury room dynamics and mysterious connections. As if the primary trial proceedings weren't sufficiently dramatic, the jury deliberation room promises to deliver its own share of compelling developments. Leo Stark's presence on the jury has already added an element of unpredictability to the proceedings, given his complex history with various Salem residents and his tendency toward dramatic revelations. The week concludes with Leo forming an unexpected connection with one of his fellow jurors, a development that could significantly impact the trial's outcome depending on the identity and motivations of this mysterious individual. Whether this new jury room companion represents a familiar face from Salem's interconnected social circles or introduces an entirely fresh dynamic to the proceedings remains tantalizingly unclear. This developing relationship within the jury could prove pivotal, as Leo's ability to influence his fellow jurors might determine Johnny's ultimate fate. His unique position as both a media personality and someone with intimate knowledge of Salem's various scandals makes him a particularly dangerous wildcard in this high-stakes legal drama. The broader implications for Salem, the events unfolding during Johnny's trial, represent more than just one man's fight for freedom. They symbolize the complex web of relationships, loyalties, and moral compromises that define life in Salem. EJ's increasingly desperate tactics reveal the lengths to which powerful individuals will go to protect their families, even when those efforts threaten to destroy innocent bystanders. Belle's professional reputation hangs in the balance as EJ's manipulations continue to unfold, while Marlena finds herself caught between her professional obligations and personal relationships. The trial has become a catalyst for exposing long-buried secrets and forcing characters to confront the consequences of their past actions. As Monday's episode approaches, viewers can expect emotional confrontations, strategic revelations, and potentially life-altering decisions that will reshape the landscape of Salem for months to come. The courtroom has become the epicenter of a drama that extends far beyond questions of guilt and innocence, touching on themes of family loyalty, professional ethics, and the price of love in a world where power and privilege often determine justice. The stage is set for a week of television that will test every character's moral compass and leave audiences questioning where their own loyalties would lie when faced with such impossible choices. Next, we dive into a tangled web of betrayal, unexpected passion, and emotional fireworks that ignited on Friday, August 8, 2025. From Belle confronting EJ with biting words after a heartbreaking betrayal, to Sarah exacting her revenge on Xander in a shocking move, and a fiery encounter between Chad and Kat that escalated from concern to undeniable chemistry. This episode was nothing short of explosive. So, sit back, because we're about to walk you through every juicy twist and turn in today's dramatic saga from Salem. Belle confronts EJ. The betrayal cuts deep after days of rumors, secrets, and suspicions. Belle Black finally faced EJ DiMera, and it wasn't just for closure. No, this was a full-throttle confrontation laced with heartbreak, fury, and a sting of disappointment that echoed through the DiMera mansion halls. Belle's eyes were steely as she stepped into the dimly lit parlor where EJ had been pretending to sip brandy like nothing had happened. But she wasn't fooled, not anymore. She slammed the door behind her, and her voice, firm yet trembling with emotion, pierced the silence. "You betrayed me, EJ, and you didn't even have the decency to lie about it convincingly." EJ, for all his charm and manipulative brilliance, was momentarily speechless. Belle laid it all out. How she discovered his secret dealings with Ava, the manipulation, the deceit, and worst of all, how easily he sacrificed trust for power. She reminded him that love isn't a commodity to be negotiated behind closed doors, and that his greed had finally cost him something real. But Belle wasn't there to cry. She came with resolve. Her words were like daggers, measured, cold, and devastating. She didn't beg for answers. She told him she was walking away. "This isn't love, EJ. This is war. And I refuse to be your casualty." With that, she turned on her heels and left, leaving EJ stunned and finally grasping what he had truly lost: Sarah's revenge. Xander never saw it coming. Meanwhile, across town, Sarah Horton was making moves of her own, ones that sent Xander reeling in disbelief. After weeks of trying to reconcile, apologize, and rebuild what he had shattered, Xander thought he was finally making progress. But Sarah had other plans. She met Xander at the park, the same place where they'd shared countless memories. Some good, some painful. With a soft smile that masked her inner storm, she handed him an envelope. Inside wasn't a love letter or even a custody agreement. It was a press release. Sarah had exposed Xander's most recent misdeeds, illegal financial dealings, manipulations with Gwen, and more. The story was already live, splashed across Salem's most-read blog. Xander's face drained of color as he read. "Why would you do this?" he asked. A mix of betrayal and fear etched across his features. Sarah's voice was calm. "Because I gave you every chance to be honest. You chose deceit. Now I choose consequences." Before he could protest, she walked away, head held high. This wasn't petty revenge. It was justice. A fever, a couch, and a kiss. Chad and Kat's fiery turning point, and now for the most unexpected, and dare we say, electrifying moment of the day. Chad DiMera's life took a surprising turn when he bumped into Kat at the hospital. She was there with little Felicity, concerned over a fever and a rash. Ever the doting uncle, Chad stepped in to help, especially after Sarah diagnosed Felicity with strep throat. While Sarah went to fetch a prescription, Chad stuck around to keep Kat company. Not because he had to, but because, whether he admitted it or not, he wanted to. Once the medication was ready, Chad insisted on accompanying Kat and Felicity back to their apartment, clearly concerned for the little girl. But as soon as they arrived, Kat began to sway, dizzy and pale. Chad caught her just in time, and when he touched her forehead, he realized something alarming. She was burning up too. Despite Kat's stubbornness, Chad made the executive decision to stay. Felicity was out cold on the couch, and Kat barely had the strength to argue. Her temperature? 103 degrees, the same as her daughter. While Chad rushed to the bathroom cabinet to grab ibuprofen, Kat grabbed her phone. And here's where things took a suspicious turn. Texting under the alias James Smith, Kat sent a message to Rafe Hernandez, saying she couldn't make their scheduled meeting and was couchbound. The message was short and vague, raising more questions than it answered. What was the meeting about? Why the fake name? And why hide it from Chad? As he returned, towel in hand, Chad sat beside her and gently pressed the cool fabric to her burning forehead. As she slipped in and out of sleep, she murmured something that stopped Chad cold. "You should have told me." He paused, unsure if she was dreaming or hallucinating. But something about her tone felt grounded, anchored in truth. He leaned in, whispering, "Just rest. We'll talk when you feel better." Then, in a moment that felt suspended in time, Kat's eyes fluttered open. And without a word, she reached up, cupped the back of his neck, and pulled him into a kiss. It wasn't a fever dream. It wasn't confusion. It was real, and Chad kissed her back. The fallout to come. Secrets, passion, and Salem's unpredictable future. As the sun set on Salem that Friday, the air crackled with tension and unspoken truths. Belle's confrontation with EJ left emotional wreckage in its wake, while Sarah's cold, calculated revenge against Xander marked a new era of strength for her. But the most layered twist belonged to Chad and Kat, a pairing that had simmered for weeks, finally boiling over in a moment born of concern, vulnerability, and undeniable attraction. But what happens next? Kat clearly has secrets, ones she's willing to keep from even Chad. And Rafe, his name, now entangled in Kat's strange coded communication, suggests a deeper, hidden subplot bubbling beneath the surface. Will Chad regret the kiss? Or will it become something more? And what will happen when Belle's words to EJ start to haunt him in the empty halls of Demera Enterprises? Stay tuned. Salem never sleeps, and neither do its secrets. Character Spotlight. Chad Demera. Chad has long walked the line between loyalty and passion, family and freedom. But this latest encounter with Kat may force him to confront sides of himself he thought he'd buried long ago. Will this new chapter bring healing? Or will it open a door to betrayal? Behind the scenes. Why this episode matters. This Friday's episode wasn't just filled with action. It marked a thematic shift. The women of Salem, Belle, Sarah, and even Kat, seized control of their narratives. Their actions weren't passive or reactive. They made bold moves that changed the dynamics of every relationship they touched. And if we've learned anything from Days of Our Lives, it's that power shifts always come with a price.